Well, it's been about 3 weeks since I returned back to Scottsdale. And it is my home base for North America. And I moved out here originally from Ohio in 2010 as my family transplanted here years before. And I was the last one to leave. So, ever since 2023, I started traveling overseas. I could not get enough of it. And I want to tell you a little bit more about what it's like choosing the home base of Bangkok and Scottsdale, as both of them have huge contrasts of what they have to offer, what the lifestyle is like. Huge contrast. Similarities, wow, that's tough to pick out, but I'm going to go over some of the things really briefly. Keep this video as short as possible to explain why Scottsdale is different than Bangkok, and Bangkok is different than Scottsdale. So, first question you may ask is, so you've been traveling overseas for over all these years, spent most of your time in Bangkok. Why did you return to Scottsdale? Well, great question if you were to ask. And the thing is, I have a home here. I'm a current homeowner for over 10 years now. And ever since I've left, I rented it out. So, rent it out through like an Airbnb or a little bit of a long term. And, I've got to come back and see where things are with my particular home that I currently own. And there's just a lot of work and maintenance being done that need to be done to it. And, so I'm doing some, a few projects here and there with that. That's part of the reason why. And then I still have family here. My mother is here, and we have some things to take care of with her. And I have a younger sister who has a growing family. How about that? I have 2 nephews now. Pretty awesome, right? So those are the reasons why I came back, and also to get acclimated with some of the people I haven't seen for a while. So that's pretty much the 3 main reasons why I returned. What's my biggest adjustment, if you were to ask? Well, that adjustment is actually just more of the going back, kind of a culture shock kind of thing. I mean, obviously I've been through this culture before, but getting reacclimated to what I was used to in Bangkok to going back here, back to driving a motor vehicle now on a full-time basis, living in my own home, having all this space, much more of a quiet setting, throughout the whole area. Well, especially even throughout Phoenix, it's much quieter, and the costs of everything, especially if you're gonna go out for dinner, very high in costs. And we talk about costs on food, just going out, even driving a car, because driving a car, you have maintenance, you gotta pay for gas, vehicle insurance, and registration and repairs, everything, that adds up, and it kind of eats your wallet away. So it costs a lot of money for living here in Scottsdale, pretty much throughout the whole United States, because everything is so driving dependent. And then when I talk about driving dependent, everything you have to rely on when you go to places is only by a motor vehicle. And all you have to do is drive. It's too far to walk. It's too wide open. And if you were to take a taxi or Uber, or Uber is similar to a Grab if you are watching from Thailand, or whatever else, it's really expensive. It costs a lot of money. And that is the whole different dynamic economic shift that I have to encounter with by paying a lot more, and a lot more here in Scottsdale. And number two, being back here, coming back in late July, and now we're in the mid-August. The weather is hot and dry. Now there are some monsoons that come here in this time of year here in Scottsdale, and we have dust storms that we encounter with. That's pretty interesting right there. And if you're in Bangkok, they enter rainy season where it rains a lot, usually an hour each day. And it's a little bit cooler. It's a little bit humid, but it's a little bit cooler, much cooler there than it is here. And it's so funny to think about, but people do complain about how hot it gets in Bangkok, but to me, it's absolutely nothing compared to here in terms of the type of climate that we deal with in the summertime going into July into August. What do I miss about Bangkok? Oh my. That's it's a huge list that I can just go over. It's the people, it's the food, it's the culture. You go to all these different temples and see all the different places that are just phenomenal. The malls, the shopping malls are everywhere. And I missed the whole dynamic of walking over to the nearest mall. That took me 7 minutes just to get there, all rolled into one of the M district of the M Quartier, and that's where I would go to my gym. I enjoyed the interaction of where I went to that gym, by the way. And everything that's so close, just to get to here, there, and the safety, you can just walk at night, no matter what time it is, and go out and enjoy your life in the evenings and not worry about you having to watch your back. That is absolutely the most phenomenal thing. And the people, interaction, everything that evolves around that is absolutely amazing. And another thing I enjoy is going to all the different areas throughout Bangkok, all the spontaneous neighborhood sceneries that I see. And I thought I mentioned, I don't have to drive. I miss going on to the MRTs. I miss going on to the BTS train systems. I miss walking. I usually walk about an hour and a half each day on average, as opposed to 15 to 30 minutes here in Scottsdale, because everything is so driving dependent. And the list goes on and on and on. It was just an absolutely phenomenal place with an outstanding lifestyle that I've encountered during my time over the 6 months and over time over the past several years in Bangkok. And another thing about Bangkok is access to the airports. To me, I think Bangkok is the central hub for all of Eastern Asia. And everywhere you go, it's not very far by a flight. Whether if you're going to Don Mueang Airport or Savannah Airport in Bangkok, there are flights everywhere to get to wherever you want to go, and they're not far away. Whether it's over Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, or if you want to go to Bali, you want to go to even domestic, Chiang Mai would be a good one, or go across the border in Vietnam, Laos, and then many different places in Vietnam. They're all very close to Bangkok. And I had a recent flight going from Bangkok to Taipei, and that was just about 3 hours when I was on my way back here to Phoenix and Scottsdale. So convenience is one, and having all the access to everywhere in Southeast Asia, that is a huge key for me that I chose Bangkok as a central hub. And bus transportation as well, don't forget that. I cannot forget about that. 2 hours from Pattaya, 2 hours from Hua Hin. Many other places I can go and drive. There's a beautiful national park that's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Right up the road, not a problem. But the thing is about Bangkok, just the energy flow. I mean, there's just so much energy throughout the whole city. It's absolutely phenomenal. I've never been to a city anywhere on this planet that has so much of a high energy vibe than Bangkok. And, another thing about it too is like, there are certain places like parks, like Warburton Pink Park or Benchikudi Park, or even Bench at Surrey, that's another one right by Pond Station. They have a tendency over in the evenings where they have huge groups together and they do like aerobics and everything. It's a very active community, and that is just, the flow is just absolutely vibrant, throughout Bangkok. And I absolutely miss, seeing all that. What feels good about Scottsdale? Well, I get to return back to my own home. 4-bedroom home. It's very spacious as opposed to being in a small condominium unit, which I did not mind at all when I was in Bangkok, because the bottom line is you have to go out all the time. You're not basically there just to stay in the condo all the time. But, I do have my car, which I don't drive as much as I used to, for obvious reasons. The open desert scenery, there's plenty of hiking to do. As long as you're there during, the perfect hours before it gets way too hot, and you have nothing to worry about, and you hike beyond your means of your hiking level. So there are some easy ones, some easy levels, intermediates, and to the extreme levels. And you go hiking, you go mountain biking, and if you're into golf, there are so many golf courses all over Scottsdale and throughout the Phoenix Valley area. I'm not a golfer. Golf is not for me, but I'll take the hiking or the biking instead. But as I mentioned, I have my family here, and I have my personal space in a nice, spacious home. And I'm just back at a place that I know very well, and I'm just here for the time being. And what's going to come up next for me? The plan is to go back to Bangkok, but I'm not sure when. But while I'm here in Scottsdale, while I'm here in the United States, I'm going to try and do my best to post as many videos as possible. To get you involved in seeing what everything is like in a different part of the other side of the world. If you're watching from Asia, by the way, if you're in Thailand, if you're in Vietnam, if you're in Indonesia, wherever, you want to see what places are like here in the Phoenix Valley area, and especially in Scottsdale, I will continue to make those videos. And I will continue if I'm traveling all over the country in the US, or if I'm deciding maybe to go to Mexico or Canada or the Caribbean, or maybe, who knows, maybe Central America, or maybe a little bit of part of South America. I'm gonna keep doing some videos, so it never ends here. I'm gonna keep traveling. But that pretty much explains everything. Just some of the key topics that I want to talk to you about why I came back, what it's like in terms of the different cultures between Bangkok and Scottsdale. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I think I kind of gave you some of the tidbit information about my feelings between Bangkok and Scottsdale, and I absolutely miss Bangkok. But for now, I'm here in Scottsdale. I'm here in the Valley of the Sun.